Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and very good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar hosted by National Autism Resource Center, we call it NARC. Okay, thank you all for taking time out and being here today. I am Zarina, one of the working committee under NARC, and I'll be the MC for today's session. Just to inform our new audience, NARC is a one-stop repository and reference resources for anything related to people with autism in Malaysia, including research, services, and consultancies. From our previous webinar, we received many requests on the topic of communication for people with autism. Therefore, today we will bring you the topic of strategies to support communications in kids with autism. And we have our speaker today, Puan Farah Farhana. Okay, before we start, let us get to know our speaker's background a bit. Okay, Puan Farah graduated from USM in Bachelor of Speech Pathology under Health Science, and currently she is working in UiTM under UiTM Hospital. Okay, as a pegawai pemulihan perubatan I think for 10 years already, and also in the UiTM Private Specialist Center. And at the same time, Puan Farah also doing the locum in a few other agencies like Pusat Pakar Psikologi Jiwa Damai, Urban Ethos Consultancy, Lion Club Kota Baru dan Silim Center. This is a previous as a trainee, and her expertise is, we can say that it's under the speech therapist. Okay, I think Puan Farah, are you ready? Puan Farah, can you on your video?
Yes.
On your video, please. Okay. Okay, let us welcome our speakers today. Hopefully, we will gain a lot of information today. Puan Farah, I think you can start.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let me give you the ball.
All right.
Right, I think you have already shared your file there.
All right. It's already.
Okay, let us. Okay, Puan Farah. Okay, I think you can start.
All right. Okay. Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Farhana, and I'm speech language therapist from HUITM. And first of all, thanks to NARC for the invitations, and secondly, thank you to all the participants who joining us in the morning sessions on the Saturday morning. I believe that everyone can see my slides now.
Yes, I can see it clearly. I hope that the attendees also can see it clearly.
All right. Okay. So the topics may sound very formal, strategies to support communications of autism kids, but I will get to share the information in the very casual ways so that the non-speech language therapists will really can understand what is the most important things that we have to understand in order for us to support the kids with autism in terms of communications. All right. All right, let's take a look into the communication process itself. Okay, what is the communication process? Everyone will understand every time when your kids or your students ataupun you punya patients, if you are therapists or EIP providers, when your kids are being referred to speech therapy for to speech therapy for speech therapy. Okay, so back in your mind, when you send your child to speech therapy, it's meant for them to talk. Okay, but actually in speech language therapy's head, we are actually want to make the child firstly understand what is the communication. All right, talking is the ultimate goal. Talking is the what we call the long-term goal, but the process to get the child to talk, we need them to understand the communication. So everyone in the autism kids circle who are dealing with them, formally or informally, need to understand what is the communication process so that we can help the children to understand what is the communication? Okay, let's take a look into the elements that that actually included in the communication process. Bila kita nak berkomunikasi ni ada prosesnya. Perlu ada at least 2 orang. Okay, perlu ada sender, orang yang ingin menyampaikan message, dan perlu ada receiver, orang yang menerima message itu. Okay, dan message itu haruslah disampaikan melalui medium. Medium itu apa? It can be sama ada verbal, talking, ataupun non-verbal. Non-verbal ni apa? It can be facial expression, I don't like, or I'm happy, or I agree, or I don't want. It's actually one of the way we sending a message to our friends, for example. Okay, or else we can sending message, WhatsApp, email, or we can actually draw, okay, or we write down notes. It's all the medium that actually we use to communicate in order for us to send some message to the receiver. Okay, and most importantly, when we want to send the message to the receiver, we have to understand what is the medium that is the best so that the receiver can understand your message. Kalau kita bercakap, contohnya we went to Japan and we would like to talk in Malay to them, for example, kita bercakap dengan bahasa Melayu yang betul pun, mungkin mereka tak boleh faham message itu. Okay, sometimes we will use some apps to translate our language to their language so that they can understand. So very important, the medium that we use is the medium that can be understandable to the receiver so that the message can be processed and understood by the receiver. And then the communication process never stops there. Bila receiver menerima message, dia dah faham message tu, they have to respond. The receiver have to respond, give some response. Kalau tak faham, dia kata tak faham. If they understand the instruction, they would do it. If not, they would do it wrongly ataupun dia akan ignore sahaja, for example. So we have to make sure the kids actually, our kids will understand all these components, all these elements in order for them to actually have a healthy communication with us. Okay, all right. Let's take a look into the these sections, the 3 functional levels of autism. All right, we know that our kids with autism will be classified into a few levels. Okay, depending on their diagnosis. Okay, but you have to understand as well, this level actually helps us to understand what is their communication functions. All the 3, for example, all the 3 kids with 3 different levels of autism will have a different communication function. Okay, and it might be happen 3 kids with the same level of autism would have the same would have a different communication functions as well. All right, but if we want to list all the differentiations, we can't do that. Okay, because the differences so many, ada banyak sangat differences. We want to talk about our autism kids because we know that they are very unique in their ways. Okay, but let's talk about what is their similarity between them. Okay, so how we would like to how I would really kita kata I nak ideologikan so that we can understand. I would give one ideology that we do every month, I guess. Okay, our expenses. We get our pay, kita dapat kita punya gaji setiap bulan, apa kita buat? And what actually guide us? Okay, setiap orang pasti ada dia punya gaji, sama ada kerja sendiri ataupun kerja makan gaji ke bisnes dan sebagainya. We have our own expenses, but how we actually use it and what is actually guide us? Okay, for example, The yellow man has 100, the blue woman has 200, the black man has many monies. Okay, what is their similarity? All of them, despite of berapa banyak yang dia earn, ataupun berapa banyak yang ada dalam poket dia, dia boleh beli basic needs, personal needs, groceries, clothing and everything. Okay, dan sebagainya. Everyone will actually has the power to buy. But what is the differentiation? Maybe where they buy it. Okay, ada yang pergi pasar, ada yang pergi supermarket, and people with high paid will go to maybe Jaya Grocers or banks, you know, and how many items that they buy. Some of us will buy barang terus satu bulan kita pergi satu kali beli. Ada orang suka simpan stok sampai 2 bulan. Ada orang akan beli every week. Okay, depends on how you actually use your money. And actually lastly, what brand? Ada orang beli beras Faiza, ada orang makan beras basmati, ada orang beli beras timbang. Okay, but the similarity is walaupun perbezaan kita punya pendapatan, kita ada kuasa membeli. Everyone can buy. Macam tu. So, same goes to our autism kids. Walaupun di mana saja level autism yang mereka berada, every kids with autism can communicate. That is the thing that we have to remember. Okay, dan kita perlu delete ataupun kita perlu omit dalam otak kita bila kita cakap pasal communicate, we talk about when we say communicate is actually talking. Tak. Komunikasi bukan hanya bercakap, bukan hanya bertutur. That is the thing that sometimes we look into very complicated ataupun very high functions abilities. Kita lupa yang actually our kids with perhaps the autism level yang 3 kan, actually they can communicate. Alright, but what is their differences? Okay, diorang boleh communicate tetapi apa bezanya? Alright. Some of them will be different in terms of their communication functions. Okay, some of them will communicate to express their refusal. They would just not, ataupun they would just throw tantrum bila dia tak suka apa yang kita buat, ataupun they will ignore us. Okay, or to ask for help. Dia will tarik kita bila dia nak apa-apa. Requesting for food or drinks, bila nak apa-apa, they would show ataupun they would bring the food to us to open. Alright. Or some of them may share emotions with us. They will come to us and cry, or they will come to us with angry faces. Okay, but some kids with autism will have a good or higher level communication functions. They actually can initiate and maintain conversation in the sense that we can talk and we can chit chat with them. Okay, and then that is the communication function that will be varies. Very simple, they would just they will communicate to express their refusal. Tak nak kan, semua kita bagi semua tak nak. Bila dia nak, they will take the offer. If not, they will run or whatever. It's actually the way they communicate, and we have to cherish that. Alright, kita tak boleh kata anak saya tak faham apa-apa. Oh, the kids ni, murid saya ni tak faham apa-apa lah. Saya buat ni tak boleh. Are you sure dia tak faham apa-apa? Give them something that they don't like, they won't do. Meaning that they actually telling you that I don't like this. This is not the thing that I like to do. Actually, that is the way they communicate. Even the kids yang non-verbal pun boleh buat benda ni. So actually they are communicating with us, but they are not talking. The problem is in our mind, we are always focusing on communication is actually bercakap, bertutur, talking. So when they don't talk to us, we assume that they are not communicating. Actually, we are in the wrong set of mind. Okay, next, what is the difference between them? Of course, the medium to communicate. Some of them are using non-verbal. Like I said, they would use gestures, facial expressions, pointing, you know. And then some of them would use limited verbal expressions. I would say a few words only. alright, ataupun hanya akan buat bunyi yang bermakna. And then some of them were able to express verbally with or without challenge. Some of our autism kids were so chatty in the sense that can say or share many things verbally. Okay, but what's might challenge to them is actually perhaps maintaining topics. They would talk many things, but they will jump topics so fast until we don't know which where are they, what is actually their main topic or main issues that they want to highlight. All right. Okay. So when we dah sampai dekat slide ni, think about our child, think about our students ataupun our patients. Get some of our kids in our mind and actually justify, identify actually where is their communication functions and what is their medium of communications. And believe, and you have to trust and change our mind that actually all our autism kids actually can communicate. That is the thing that we have to cherish and focus. All right. All right. What that we have, we need to ask. Like I said, we have to know their ability, their ability and their communication function. Okay. We really need to remember this. We have, when we ask, we're actually asking what the child need, not what we want, not what we need, not what we understand, but what is the kids need and value. Okay, kadang-kadang kita nak anak kita bagi tahu what happened at the school, but actually that is what we want. Perhaps what the kids want is actually they want to still share what is the thing that they want. They just want to share what the things that they need. Dia belum lagi sampai tahap yang dia nak share apa yang terjadi dekat sekolah. Okay, mungkin sebab apa yang terjadi kat sekolah itu bernilai untuk kita nak tahu as parents, tapi belum lagi sampai tahap untuk mereka sendiri faham why I have to understand, why I have to tell this to my mom or why I have to tell this to my parents. So in our process to challenge our kids to improve their communication ability and function, first, please respect and know them. Okay, this is very key important yang I betul-betul nak bagi orang faham. It's very look simple, but actually we have to actually really respect them and know them, because even though they are unique, but they are human, and when we are human, we were going to talk or we are going to communicate with person that respect us, with a person like really know us. If we don't like or not comfortable with the person itself, we might not show or we might not share many things. All right, so it's actually same goes to them as well. All right. So I have few cases that I want to share. Two cases. This is the first one. The first case. All right, this is the mother. Today I will share two cases, one case of the mother, one case of the father, so that everything will get adil like that. So because all parents are dealing with this. Okay, so mother and 5-year-old boy with autism spectrum disorder. This is the case that I have seen in my practices lah. All right, okay, the boy actually can communicate verbally. One word. All right, and they use packs for a long sentences when they want when he want to say like I want to read book, and then you would use the packs. Otherwise, you would produce verbally but only one word, book, for example. Okay, when the mother comes to me, the mother concerns was the kid was only talking and use packs with the mother, but not others. Okay, including me. When I give the what we call that stimulus, when I want to try give instructions, he won't what we call that respond to me. But when the mother exactly giving the same instruction, he will respond. Okay, Alright, and on top of that, with the mother, the kid will only respond to the mother's question but will never or not initiate conversation. Maksudnya, dia hanya bercakap, menggunakan satu patah perkataan, one word, dan gunakan teks untuk membuat ayat hanya dengan ibunya, dan bila dia hanya berkomunikasi tu dari segi dia respon kepada mak. Kalau mak tak tanya, dia tak akan jawab. Ataupun kalau mak tak tanya, dia buat sendiri. Macam tu. And then dia tak akan, kalau we don't ask, if the mother don't ask, dia akan diam sajalah. Okay? And otherwise, he will get it by himself and sort of avoiding talking to others. Maksudnya bila jumpa saya pun, saya tengok dia dengan saya, dia tak pandai. But when we see, actually these kids has a lot of words. Dia punya vocabs ada banyak. He knows many things, but he won't respond to the stimulus that we give, except from mother lah. Okay, so what is the problem? Okay, why it's happening? Okay, of course, what we do is actually we do the parent-child, from the parent-child interaction session that we observed, we noticed that, okay, the kid has the misconceptions of communication function and process. Okay, he understands that communication is from him and the mother only. Okay, and he is not using the skills that he has with another person. Imagine these kids know many things. He can understand instructions, but imagine these kids at school or in the EIP classes, he won't show the true talent because he has the misconception. He will only respond to the mother. So because of that, the mother actually come to us and said what is happening, you know. He understand that. Number two, he understand that the sender is only the mother. Remember the first communication process chat at Aisha, he understand that the sender is only his mother and he is the receiver. Okay, he doesn't get the concept of the communication that can be vice versa. Dia tak faham dan dia rasa dia bukan tak faham. Dia salah faham. Jadi dia rasa mak tanya dia jawab. Tapi dia tak boleh tanya apa-apa dengan mak. Or he doesn't need to bertanya dengan mak or share anything with the mak. Alright. I don't think this is the satu situasi yang jarang berlaku. Actually, it's usually happens with our autism kids. Why? Okay, we have to understand what is the solutions. Is actually our autism kids ni macam mana pun we have to accept they are unique in the sense that they are rigid. Some of them can tolerate to changes. Ada yang boleh kita ubah sikit ataupun kita change here and there, they can actually understand and absorb faster through about the changes and can understand them well. But however, some of them would take more times. Okay, so it is important at the beginning of introductions of each concept, new concept, including communication, we need to indirect or direct, not to be rigid. This is very important to all the providers who introducing PACS. Okay, I know that there are many practitioners who use PACS in the beginning when the child is not, it's non-verbal. We introduce PACS. Very important to not make them misunderstand, our autism kids to misunderstand that the PACS is actually when you serve the bot, baru dia kena show. Kadang-kadang dia salah faham. Bila kita tak tunjuk bot, dia tak akan cari bot tu untuk communicate. Sebenarnya they have to understand that they can actually take the bot and show to us rather than we take the bot and show to them. That very tiny move that we do can make them misunderstand. Okay, bila dia salah faham dan dia kata, oh bila tak ada orang yang keluarkan bot tu, dia tak akan guna. So that is very important. Kadang-kadang masa kita introduce the paper ataupun gambar, kita tunjuk dulu. Lepas tu dia ambil. So sometimes they don't get it yang they can actually flip the books or choose and identify, take from the each pictures yang ada. Benda-benda macam ni kadang-kadang kita tak perasan, but it's actually make the kids misconcept dan juga membuatkan kejadian ataupun keadaan ni terjadi. Dia hanya akan guna bila orang tunjukkan board tu. Dia hanya akan cakap bila orang tanya. Okay? Alright, so first thing first, they need to understand that they not only need to respond to question. Okay, this is all time favorite from speech therapy to say that don't always ask question to your kids. But also they actually can initiate, share, and request for their needs. Okay, the simplest techniques that you can help them is actually, of course, noticing and responding. We know that our autism kids will have this characteristic yang mereka tak suka engage dengan orang lain. They will, kalau boleh buat sendiri, tak ada contact dengan orang lain, itu lebih baik. Okay, so we have to observe them all the time. Kalau ada masa, observe them and notice apa yang dia nak ataupun apa yang diperlukan, and then you have to respond to it. You have to intrude dalam dunia dia and kata, oh, you want this, or you want to open the TV, for example, or let me help you. Okay, or you want, or dia buka peti ais and dia buka peti ais, you know that he approaching the fridge, for example, and then you intrude, oh, what do you want from the fridge? Or you want apple, or you want some vitagen, macam tu. So you respond to every move that they do. Kadang-kadang bila anak kita dah boleh buat sendiri, kita rasa dia independent. It's good in some ways, but when it comes to communications, they actually can share what they need to us so that we can help them. Because of that, number 2, we would use the communication temptation. For example, like we will put what's their favorites. For example, they will love some biscuit, so you just tutupkan bottle tu ketat so that they can open from themselves. So bila dia dah ketat-ketat, you nampak dia macam struggle, and then you have to, and if the child belum lagi ada sampai fasa yang dia akan seek for your help, dia akan try buka, lepas tu dia dah marah, dia akan buang, for example. Okay, so use that opportunity to approach them, masuk dekat dalam dunia dia. Oh, you want to open the biscuit? Let me help you. It's so tight. Open, open, open. Something like that. So use everything. Target. You know, kita selalunya akan tahu apa yang kids suka ataupun tak suka. Kadang-kadang kita selalu macam, kalau kat klinik saya selalu macam, I know the kids love Legos, for example. And then I tahu dia tak suka slime, for example. So I just akan letak je slime tu kat meja, and then I was okay, let's play, and then just tengok dia, and then dia akan jadi stiff. Dia tak suka, like, you don't like it, what happened? Or what do you want? And then this is how we engage. Kita tengok muka dia, actually they are communicating kan, they give our their facial expression to us, so we get the attention, we get the communication that they trying to dia nak communicate dengan kita, so kita faham apa dia nak communicate. So take the opportunity and explore and tell them that, oh, your facial expression, I can understand that, I know that you don't like it, okay, let's change, something like that. So nanti next time they will understand, if I don't like it, I will make this look, and some people will understand, and then I can actually get the, you know, I request and I tell what I want, and I will get what I like to play, macam tu. Alright, but sometimes when the kids are getting older, ataupun kids yang dah more independent, and then we as the parents pun busy, we will actually miss all this opportunity. That's because that sometimes we will assume that the kids actually nak ambil sendiri dan tak nak communicate dengan kita, ataupun tak nak cakap dengan kita, tak nak minta dengan kita. But actually sometimes they give us some sign, but we missed look into it because we are that to be busy. Alright, it's okay. Alright, let's look into Case number 2. This is the father and the 7-year-old boy with ASD. Okay, all right. This boy was talking a lot as in response to question. Okay, initiating and maintaining conversation during his one-to-one therapy, group therapy, and also with the mother. Okay, so he actually functioned. His speech and language ability, his speech and language level is actually approaching his umur yang sebenar. Actually not too bad. However, he particularly will not talk or answer, and he tends to ignore to his father. So the father is upset. Okay, the father expressed his concern on why the kid seems why kepada ayah tu he looked like the son tu was not improving. But the teachers, therapists, punya wife cakap different, they give a different feedback. So dia macam pelik lah, and dia macam upset. Why semua orang kata anak dia okay, improving, but dengan dia rasa sama saja anak dia. So dia upset. Alright. So why? What happened? Okay, from the parent-child interaction sessions, we noticed that the father start conversations with questions. And will continue asking when the kid's not answering. Maksudnya dia akan tanya, nak apa? Tanya, dia bombard macam tu. And he did not pause or waiting to give the time to the kids to respond. Bila dia kata, nak apa? Anak dia tak jawab dia, nak apa? Dia tanya lagi laju. Okay, one after another. And then the father used a loud voice, the high volume, with the firm intonation. Memang karakter seorang ayah lah. Dia garang macam tu kan, firm suara and very loud, kuat sangat. Okay, so what's wrong with that? Okay, sorry. Okay, what we can learn from the situations. Alright, our autism kids are sensitive and selective. Okay, they are sensitive to certain loudness. They respond differently to soft, loud, even whispers. Okay, some of them enjoy a low-pitched voice with the touch of melodic rhyme in it, but others may not like it and prefer monotonous intonation. Because of that, I love to meet new autism kids because it's so challenging. What we would do is actually we would try to use our different tone. Kejap-kejap kita guna suara kuat, kadang-kadang kita guna suara perlahan. Kita tengok mana yang dia respon lebih baik. Kadang-kadang kita guna suara yang terlampau excited, very excitement, dia akan jadi dia pun excited, and then dia akan menjejaskan attention and focus dia. So kalau kita nak buat aktiviti yang memerlukan fokus, kita tak akan guna intonation tu. Tapi kita akan guna that kind of excitement punya voice. So you have to be specific. This is how unique they are. And actually it's very interesting. You kena tahu apa kadang-kadang suara yang terlampau kuat, they have a sensory issues kan, sakit. Jadi dia tak suka, dia bukan tak nak dengar ataupun tak nak respond, actually he is having a difficulty with that. Okay, then that's number 1. Okay, and then number 2, we need to give more time to our kids to respond. Okay, bila kita tanya satu soalan, dia tak jawab, we wait for a few seconds and avoid bombarding them with a continuous question. Kalau kita tanya, contohnya nak apa? Dia diam je kan. Dia kata nak makan ke nak mandi? Bagi choice. Kalau tak jawab juga, you have to show items. Or you want dinosaur or you want car? Or you want to sleep, show the room. Or you want to watch TV, show the TV. Sometimes you have to give choices. Okay, jangan tanya jangan bombard lah nak apa. Macam kita pun sometimes we have a bad day, balik kerja dan sebagainya, kita tanya soalan banyak-banyak, kita pun kadang ignore je. Sama juga dengan kanak-kanak autism. they are autism kids yang sangat busy. They are busy. Dia pun tak ada masa untuk diri dia. What I say, because morning they have to go to school, petang ada EIP group, malam kadang-kadang ada reading punya kelas dan sebagainya. They are very busy. Sometimes if the person yang bercakap dengan dia tu, seseorang yang dia tak rasa dekat di hati dia, sometimes they would try to ignore. Alright. So kalau kita pun tak suka orang tanya soalan yang berulang-ulang, sama juga dengan dia orang. Okay, it's not because perhaps they don't know what to answer, but don't left them in the situation yang dia tidak menjawab. Sebab nanti dia akan salah faham, saya cakap tadi, macam kes nombor 1 dia akan salah faham, oh bila ayah tanya, tak jawab pun tak apa. Because bila tanya, bila dia tak jawab, ayah pergi je. So nanti dia akan faham, oh tak apa, ayah ni tanya marah, suara kuat-kuat tanya-tanya, dia tak boleh cakap apa, dia diam je, ayah pergi. Nanti dia salah faham. Dia kata, okay, bila ayah datang, tanya je, you have to keep quiet. Takut dia salah faham. Okay? Then remember that we are trying to make a conversation and engaging with them and not investigating them. Jadi kenalah tanya dengan keadaan yang sesuai lah. Macam saya cakap tadi, you have to respect and know them. Okay, kadang-kadang ada waktu yang kita tahu dia baru balik daripada kelas, dia penat, tak payah tanya, kalau you tahu dia tak tanya tak apa. Then maybe you want to have a chit chat with them petang, nak belanja dia ice cream ke, nak minum-minum dengan dia kat petang ke, then you would try to chit chat. Sometimes kita kena tengok masa yang dia sesuai, yang dia nak bersembang dengan kita rather than bila masa yang kita ada masa untuk bersembang dengan dia. Okay, give and take, insyaAllah. Okay, what we can learn, we need to determine. This is a very important notes to every person that dealing with the kids with autism. We need to determine our goals when we start a conversation with them. Maksudnya kita akan nak berkomunikasi, kita nak beri komunikasi. Remember the communication process. We are the sender, they are the receiver. The medium yang kita nak guna tu would depends on your goals. Okay? You kena decide sama ada you want to communicate with them tu, you want to teach them new skill, you nak suruh dia faham benda baru, mendapatkan satu skills baru, ataupun you want to challenge their current understanding and verbal communication ability. Okay, contoh kalau maksudnya you bila nak bercakap tu you kena faham you nak ajar dia benda baru ataupun you nak buat you nak challenge dia punya speech and language ability. They're two different things. Okay. Number second, get to know the kid's speech and language level. This is what I usually tell the parents. Bila dah jumpa speech therapy, you should know, we know your kids is having autism. Nothing wrong with them. Okay, nothing wrong with that. Okay, now when you see the speech therapy, we want to know what is the speech language level of the kids. Okay, you have to ask your speech therapy. Okay, anak saya dekat mana umurnya sekarang, level dia? Dia umur 7 tahun tapi tahap pemahaman dan percakapannya dekat umur berapa? Sama dengan umur budak berapa? Budak 3 tahun ke? Budak 4 tahun ke? Ask your speech therapy. Okay? Or kalau tak sempat, ask them to write down a notes, a memo to you so that you can refer. Because of what? That is important. That would be, then you have to always remember the kid zone of proximal and use the technique. Kita ada satu teknik yang dekat language stimulation kita panggil zone of proximal. Contohnya, if your kid is 5 years old, tapi dia punya understanding, dia punya pemahaman apa yang dia boleh faham sama macam umur budak 3 tahun. So dia punya zone of proximals is actually when you want them to learn new things. You have to use the language macam budak umur 3 tahun, baru dia boleh faham. Kalau you guna bahasa yang tinggi lagi umur 4 tahun, dia tak boleh faham. Okay? Kadang-kadang apa bezanya? Umur budak 4 tahun, dia dah 4-5 tahun, dia dah boleh faham arahan yang sukar macam okay, ambil pensel, ambil buku biru, letak atas meja. Lepas tu letak atas meja. Cikgu cakap kan, okay semua ambil buku biru letak atas meja. Itu budak umur 4-5 tahun And then the buku biru is actually inside the bag or dalam desk macam tu. So they have to find it. Kalau umur budak 4-5 tahun, selalunya mereka dah bolehlah faham arahan yang ada 2 item macam tu. Tetapi kalau kanak-kanak yang umurnya tahap pemahaman yang umur dekat 3 tahun, dia tak boleh faham semuanya. Maksudnya dia tak boleh faham semua komponen yang diberi dalam satu ayat. Maksudnya the teacher ataupun kita kena breakkan untuk dia. Okay, mula-mula ambil buku biru. Dia pun cari buku biru. Lepas tu, then letak atas meja. You have to pause. You kena bagi dia satu arahan to another. Okay, sama juga when you know the kids of zone of proximal kanak-kanak ni, then you tahu bila you nak ajar dia sesuatu skill yang baru, you kena ikut apa yang dia punya tahap bahasa. So that baru dia boleh faham. Sebab tu kadang-kadang teachers or non-speech therapy provider dia akan kata, oh budak ni tak faham lagi lah, tak boleh faham arahan lah. Bukannya dia tak boleh faham arahan. Dia tak boleh faham arahan yang you bagi sebabnya arahan yang you bagi terlampau tinggi dengan tahap yang dia baru capai. Okay? Alright. So that's very important. Okay. So if you want to teach them new skill, all of your instruction must be within their ability or levels of understanding. Ni kena faham. Contohnya kalau you are occupational therapist dealing with kids with autism, you bagi arahan kan kadang-kadang you nak bagi you all kan dah start macam ajar learning comprehension ke apa. Kalau you rasa macam susah nak faham, you can always ask the speech therapy in charge and get the tips. Kadang-kadang you tak tahu mana zone of proximal kepada kids ni. This is all the things that you should ask your speech language therapist and in charge. They will actually know to guide you. Okay, alright. Tetapi if you want to challenge their speech and language ability, as in practicing speech language therapy home program, maksudnya kena ada kan kita kata speech therapy selalu bagi kerja rumah kan. So if you want to practice that, you have to use one step level higher. You nak test dia, you nak practice dia untuk meningkatkan lagi kebolehan ataupun level speech and language dia. Okay, then we can challenge them to enhance the complexity of the communication ability. Contohnya tadi, kalau anak kita tadi tu dekat umur 3 tahun, dia boleh faham arahan satu-satu. For example, kalau kita teruskan sepanjang kita bercakap dengan dia tu, asyik guna arahan yang mudah, arahan yang mudah, arahan yang mudah, jadi dia tidak akan meningkatlah keupayaannya. Jadi ada waktu you nak challenge dia, you boleh bagi dia arahan yang suka. And then kalau dia tak boleh buat, you have to prompt. You have to pause. Contohnya tadi kan macam okay, ambil buku biru, lepas tu you slowkan you punya pace. Okay, ataupun you have to manipulate the environment. Tak boleh ada distraction. Kalau dalam kelas mungkin dia tak boleh faham, banyak murid dia distraction, so dia tak boleh nak engage atau tak boleh nak tangkap the instruction. Tapi kalau dalam bilik, kalau kat rumah tak ada distraction, mungkin dia boleh exalt. Okay. Number 5 is very important. Remember that our autism kids are human. Okay. They have their right and preference. Ini very important. Be the person that they would be looking up to share their feelings, needs and or refusal. Okay, this is always happen. Kadang-kadang kita selalu, if we are speech therapist, selalu parents akan cakap, dengan puan dia boleh cakap banyak. Dia boleh ikut pula. Kadang-kadang dengan saya dekat rumah tak nak pun. Selalu benda ni terjadi. Sebab apa? Sebab this is our specialty. So otherwise we have to engage with them. Okay, this is our forte kan. Jadi dia jumpa dengan speech therapy dia tu, dia akan rasa, oh this person know me. This person respect me. I buat sedikit respon, I buat sedikit move, dia boleh faham I. So dia akan more open to you and dia akan more response to you. Tapi kalau dia berada di dalam keadaan yang dia tidak selesa, then it would be harder for them, okay, to explore, right? Okay, one more ideology, last one I guess. Okay, contoh imagine that we have few houses. One is a single story, ada satu lagi double story, and then ada lagi 3-story house. Banyak house. Okay, each house may serve the same purpose. We can stay in the house, kita boleh sleep dalamnya, kita boleh cook, we can eat and shower in all the houses despite of berapa level, berapa tingkat ke rumah tu. They would serve the same purpose. Okay, what will be the difference? Ada break up areas, ada yang kecil, ada yang besar. The number of person that can fit in the house. Kalau rumah yang besar tu boleh diduduki oleh ramai orang. Okay, and the number of the room inside the house. Okay, and then the maintenance fees. Rumah yang besar tu, besar build up area, banyaklah dia punya tax. Ada electricity pun banyak, banyaklah kipas ke aircon dalam rumah tu. Okay, tapi if we own all the houses, kita ada semua tiga-tiga rumah ni, but we would like to open all the door houses using one key. Kita ada satu je kunci. Is that possible? Of course, usually we need different keys for a different house. Selalu kita akan ada kunci yang berbeza untuk buka kunci rumah, pintu rumah yang berbeza. Okay. Alright, kalau kita ada satu kunci je, apparently we will be able to open one door sajalah, one house saja. Okay. Alright. Then it's actually the same goes to our autism kids. Alright, all our autism can communicate. Remember that every kids with autism can communicate at their own pace. Remember, ada yang boleh hanya communicate untuk apa yang dia nak, dia tak nak share dengan orang lain lagi. Remember that. If we want to engage in communication with them, we need to use the correct key to connect. Macam rumah tadi, kalau kita ada satu kunci, apparently we were able to open one door. Okay, kalau kita ada banyak kunci pun, kita nak buka satu pintu, kalau kita tak mengenal pasti mana satu kunci yang kita nak guna, we would be able to open that, but we would take a long time because kita nak kena test satu key mana yang fit. Okay, so it needs a practice juga, okay, to connect with them. Okay, if we fail to connect or the kids fail to engage, apparently it's not because of the kids' inability. Kadang-kadang kita selalu silap bila kita nak berkomunikasi dengan kanak-kanak autism, bila kita nak cakap ataupun nak bagi instructions, bila dia tak boleh faham ataupun dia tak ikut, seldom misinterpret kata, oh the kids don't understand, the kids is not focusing, the kids is distracting lah. Hari ni dia ada isu dan kita banyak sangat kita put the blame into the kids. This is all actually the complaints yang selalu kita dapat daripada other practitioners. Okay, but actually usually it might not tak semestinya ia terjadi because kids tu punya inability, but it's actually because kita yang gagal mencari ataupun we who fail to specify our key to open their doors. Okay, ingat kalau kita adalah EIP providers, kita adalah teachers, kita adalah therapist, kita jumpa berapa patient? 5 orang student yang 5 orang clients yang ada autism satu hari, all of them will have a different key. Some of them will have a different key to open the main door, and then you nak masuk kat dalam bilik-bilik kecil tu, they would use the different key as well. Okay, so it's not an easy job, but we have to try some ways. Tapi if we don't find the key, we won't find the way. Kalau kita asyik nak blame, kata the kids is not ready, blah blah blah, kita tidak akan menyelesaikan masalah. Okay, what I want everyone to remember today, that every kids with autism can communicate. That is the most important thing. Number 2, communication is not talking alone. Communication, berkomunikasi bukan bercakap, bertutur sahaja. Ada banyak medium lain. We have to cherish apa keupayaan kanak-kanak itu mengikut dia punya level. Okay, and from then you boleh belajar untuk respect. Okay, bila you respect, dia pun akan rasa selesa dengan you. Okay, alright. Satu lagi pesan saya untuk semua, it's kind of tip juga, if you dealing with kids with autism, in a session ke, dalam kelas ke, dalam EIP dan sebagainya, kalau you rasa stress, macam you rasa macam marah ke, rasa penat ke, you don't like the situation, macam rasa, I don't like this, I don't like this, I want to end this fast, macam tu contohnya. You have to understand, apa yang kita rasa tu, sama juga dengan apa yang anak-anak autism tu rasa, anak autism ataupun klien yang kita rasa. If we don't enjoy the session, the kids pun tak enjoy the session. Sama juga dekat rumah, if we feel stressed to communicate, or we feel stressed to give instruction to our kids, maksudnya dia pun stress nak terima instruction kita. So somehow you have to macam saya kata tadi, you have to know apa yang dia perlu, apa yang anak itu perlu, apa yang anak itu mahu, rather than what we want. Okay, later on memanglah kita nak improve, but in back our mind memang kita akan improvekan apa yang kekurangannya, but kita haruslah ikut dia punya pace masing-masing. Okay. Alright, I think this is my last slide. So the vision is, so let's try our best to get to know our child. Okay, sebab child with autism ni dia takkan sama. Dalam textbook ada banyak, dia akan listkan ini karakteristik, what do and don'ts. Tapi in the real life, it's not like that. Kalau tak percaya, tengok parents yang ada satu kids with autism kat rumah pun, sometimes it's hard for them to understand. Would take some time to find the key to understand. Sometimes because of that, a therapist will always ask parents apa anak tu punya preference dan sebagainya, because we want to actually modulate ataupun create the key from the information yang parents bagi, because parents would know their kids best. Okay, so let's try our best to get to know our child, and the sooner we can, the faster we can connect with them, insyaAllah. Sama juga, sama ada kita therapist ke, teachers, therapy providers, or parents, or any shadows, aided shadows ke, yang dealing with all autism kids ni, we have to have this in mind, with love, sabar, carilah the best untuk kenal anak ni. Okay, dan secepat mana kita kenal tu, lagi cepatlah kita boleh connect. Bila kita connect, actually this child is full of love. Banyak yang dia nak kena share dengan kita. Even though they are not verbal, tapi ada banyak benda yang dia nak share dengan kita. Even though they are not talking, because they are full of love. Just that because kita ni yang fikir, kita yang fikir sebab kita, majoriti orang macam kita kan, kita nak orang bercakap, so kita nak budak tu bercakap. Tapi sebenarnya budak tu belum lagi sampai tahap bercakap. Actually they want to share with other ways, but kita yang block. Sebab kita punya mind ni set nak bercakap saja. Remember, bercakap, bertutur, talking is the ultimate goal, the long term goal. But there is a process that we have to go through. Jangan kita nak strike terus talking, sampai we stress everything and we get the child to get the misconcept about the communication process, dan bila nanti kids sudah boleh banyak bercakap pun, dia tak boleh nak generalize. That would be a problem juga later on. Alright? Okay. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Puan Farah. Thank you very much for the amazing tips and informational communication strategies in dealing with autism kids. I believe this is not only dealing with the autism kids, but also with other special kids, special needs kids like CP, like Down syndrome. Since I also have a child, so I learn a bit from your speech today. Okay, like giving instructions not to give more than one. I mean, if we were to give more than one instructions, we have to make it face by face or one by one. Right? Okay. Otherwise, there is what actually we are asking them. Okay, Puan Farah, okay, we have collected a few questions from the audience, and there are a lot of compliments saying thanks to you in the chat box and also in the YouTube channel. Maybe you can read later. But now let me allow one of my colleagues to share the questions that he has already collected.
Okay.
We can, all of us can see this is okay. Mr. Izzat, make it make it question 1. Okay. So question 1, I think you can see. Okay. Islam tak mahu cakap dengan ayah, hanya pada saya sahaja. Even bila dia start puberty nak cerita pada saya sahaja. Kadang-kadang it's a bit stress. Macam mana nak encourage dia bercakap dengan orang lain.
Okay, like thank you for the question, Puan Nur Zuhaila. This is the thing that I cakap lah, memang ada banyak kes macam ni. First of all, you have to get him to okay, sekarang ni dia rasa macam mak yang faham dia. So dia nak apa-apa or dia nak tanya apa-apa, dia akan cakap ataupun dia akan beritahu dekat mak sahaja. Mungkin dia rasa orang lain tak boleh nak faham dia. Okay, so first of all you have to make him understand that mungkin certain perkara dia kena tanya dekat orang lain, for example like ayah dan sebagainya. Then you can try, but first of all you have to make sure that contohnya anak tak nak bercakap dengan ayah, you have to make sure sama ada ayah itu sendiri selesa tak nak bercakap dengan anak ni. Sometimes we as a mother want the child to be close to father in some sense, tapi kadang-kadang perhaps the father pun sendiri have the challenge or the struggle untuk get to engage dengan anak-anak autism ni, especially young teen. So sometimes we are focusing on the kids punya problems, but sometimes we have to look into the other person punya suitability and readiness juga. Sometimes orang yang nak engage dengan anak ni pun perlu tahulah macam mana nak engage. And then you have to understand juga one more thing, you have to identify, is it a need for the child to share or certain topics tu with other people rather than the mother. Sebab kadang-kadang kita yang rasa the kids ni better share certain things with the father, but it's actually a norms yang kita biasa ikut. But perhaps it doesn't have to be all the time ikut norms yang sama. Macam I cakap tu lah, you have to respect and know them. In terms of nak bercakap dengan orang lain ni, the key word is actually orang lain tu. Orang lain tu adakah ready nak talking ataupun nak bercakap, engage dengan autistic kids ni. The facts that dia dah boleh engage dengan mother, meaning that dia dah boleh berkomunikasi dengan mother, but sometimes orang lain ni yang belum ready untuk engage dengan kanak-kanak autism ni ataupun dengan this autistic teen ni with your son, because they might not have the key that you have. Macam tu. Alright.
Okay, thank you for that for the answer. I think it should answer the question. Okay, Mr. Izzat, move to question number 2 coming from Madam Najwani. So I believe first impression can give big impact to connect with them. What is the best way to start communication with autism child if we here the therapist meet them in the first session?
Okay, thank you Najwani. Okay, selalunya the tips yang saya buat, selalunya kalau kita jumpa budak, kita akan selalu macam eager nak engage, nak dekat-dekat dengan dia. Macam nak main ni, nak main tu, tak nak ni, tak nak tu, sampai sebab kita rasa bila kita dekat or kita offer something, kita membantu dia. But sometimes ada kids yang if that technique tu tak berjaya ataupun bila you offer dia lagi lari ke ataupun dia offer lagi dia nak buka pintu ke, what would I do is actually I will sit in my chair on my desk and I put the toys yang selalunya kita boleh tanyalah mak tu toys apa yang dia nak, tapi we will put, macam saya cakap tadi, put in the tempat yang tinggi dan sebagainya, and then kita biarkan saja. Sometimes the weight, kita observe dan weight tu is actually helping them. First, sometimes they want to explore the environment. Second, they nak identify barang apa yang ada. Sebab tu kadang-kadang dalam bilik tu kita kosongkan, kita letak satu toys yang dia suka, and then we put it high ataupun we put in the jar yang kita tutup dan sebagainya, and then we let them approach us rather than we approach them. Sebabnya kita selalu akan kata, kita yang selalu macam saya cakap tadi, kita yang nak budak tu bercakap dengan kita. Kita yang nak budak tu ikut apa yang kita cakap. Sebenarnya kita nak dia communicate. Bila kita nak dia communicate, dia yang perlu, what we call that, bila dia nak communicate, dia yang perlu approach kita. So sometimes how we want to let them approach us is actually we wait and kita kata macam kita umpan dia lah apa yang dia suka. From there we can start engage dengan dia. Sometimes nanti next session you tukar mainan dia tak suka pula, and look how they will change dia punya expression. Then from there you will try to engage dan faham dengan dia. Kadang-kadang sebabnya semua orang jumpa dia, semua orang nak approach dia. Bila jumpa dengan terapis ni, kita try twist, suruh dia yang approach kita. So dia akan belajar benda baru, and that new experience will actually let them to connect with us even faster, insyaAllah.
Okay, I hope that answered the question from Madam Najwa. So the question coming from Madam Martha. So at what age is considered a late talker, and at what age is the best to refer to SLP?
Okay, thank you Madam Martha for the question. Okay, now okay, the late talker ni ada okay, now kalau dekat Malaysia ataupun in the current practices, the earliest clients that we get in our clinics referred from the klinik kesihatan or from the pediatricians itself is at the age of 1.5 months, 1 year and 6 months. That is the earliest one. When the child is at the age of 1 year and 6 months, but they are not producing any words yet, or they don't reply to, or they don't obey simple instructions like taking their own pampers or take their own bottles, for example, they would refer to speech therapists as early as 1 year and 6 months. Yes.
Okay, just now there was a bit lagging, okay, but hopefully you has already answered the question. Okay, Mr. Izzat, question number 4, please. Okay, because question the slide for this question is handled by other panelists. Okay, hold on, let me just find it from my WhatsApp. Okay. All right. Okay, I think Mr. Izzat is aware that we are moving to question. Okay, Miss X here. My 3-year-old grandson is non-verbal but very active and communicate only through gestures. I think a speech problem.
Okay.
Is it clear, point?
All right. Yes. All right. Okay. Usually the kids with non-verbal and active at 3 years old, of course, it means like the kids has with the kids at the age of 3 years old will actually already be able to produce at least 3 words. I want chicken. I want cookies, or I don't like, I want to sleep, something like that. 3 words per sentence. If your grandson is still non-verbal and not talking and communicating with you using gestures, which is good, he actually communicating, but I believe that he has issues with speech and language level, speech and language component, because he's still not talking. Because kids with at the age of 3 years old usually already can talk up to 3 to 4 words per utterance. Yeah.
Okay, I hope that answered the questions. Okay, and here we come to the last question coming from Bengkel Perlindungan Semangat Maju Ipoh. I think coming from I think she's working in this organization, I think. So the question is, bagaimana boleh berlaku seorang kanak-kanak autism ini dari kecil boleh bertutur, bila semakin meningkat dewasa dia enggan bertutur, dan bagaimana nak bagi dia mula bertutur semula?
Okay.
Clear, right?
Yes. Okay. Alright. First of all, bila kita bercakap pasal kanak-kanak yang ada autism yang boleh bertutur, we have to know at what age dia bertutur and what is the level of dia bertutur. Maksudnya umur berapa dia bertutur. Contohnya kalau dia umur 3 tahun tapi dia bercakap sepatah-sepatah, meaning that at age 3 tahun tu he has a delay already. Okay, number 2, kalau pula keadaan dia umur 2 tahun and then dia dah start boleh bercakap 2 patah, which is good, but tapi lama-lama dia tak bercakap dah, for example. It can happen that way. But it's hard for me to tell why it's happened, because this situation is actually selalunya kita kata memang kanak-kanak yang didiagnose ada autism, dia memang akan ada momen yang dia bercakap, and then lepas tu dia akan kita kata dia tiba-tiba tidak menunjukkan tahap kefahaman dan juga pertuturan dia yang sebaiknya macam umur dia sebelum dia didiagnose. It always happen, but we don't know also why, but usually maybe because bila semakin meningkat umur, makin ataupun dia punya level tu lebih banyak. Contohnya umur 2 tahun dia hanya perlu tunjuk certain, dia hanya perlu faham beberapa, dia hanya perlu tunjuk barang. For example, dia hanya perlu tunjuk, okay, mana buku, mana cawan. Tapi bila dia meningkat lagi umur, dia perlu boleh tunjuk biru, merah, for example. So that hard question tu dia tak boleh catch, perhaps because of these kids with autism ni kan dia ada problem, ada issues ataupun challenge dengan dia punya sensory, attention dan sebagainya. All those component mempengaruhi perkembangan bahasa dan pertuturannya. Some of these autism kids, when the sensory issue, attention issue-nya diberi perhatian, sometimes dia punya speech and language level pun akan berkembang baik. Because of that, these kids yang ada speech language delay ni, dia bukan hanya perlu jumpa speech therapy, but that they have to jumpa dengan occupational therapist, clinical psychologist to deal with them so that they can progress well, insyaAllah.
Okay, thank you for that wonderful answer. Actually, there is one question coming from YouTube, since we're also streaming to our YouTube channel. The question coming from Madam Alice Chong. Okay, the question is, bagaimana untuk membantu kanak-kanak autism untuk menyatakan ekspresi atau emotion? Contohnya menyatakan sakit.
Alright. Okay. Alright. First of all, thank you, Miss Alice, for the question. Okay. The key is actually if we want our autism child to share their emotion like pain, first of all, they have to understand the communication process. dia perlu tahu yang dia perlu share certain feelings to others. Sometimes dan benda itu penting untuk kita tahu. Sometimes dia rasa sakit tapi dia tak rasa perlu untuk share. Okay, sometimes you will try to introduce them to emotion. Emotional ni nak kanak-kanak yang ada autism, in speech and language development, in order for the child to understand emotions, dia punya speech and language level tu perlulah dekat umur 6-5 tahun dan ke atas. Okay, kalau kanak-kanak yang umur 5 dan 6 tahun ke bawah tu mungkin susah sikit mereka nak faham dan juga express dia punya pain. But usually it's very important untuk kita faham ataupun tahulah bila mana anak itu sakit ataupun sebagainya. It's very important to us and very crucial juga kalau kita nak bawa ke hospital dan sebagainya. What you can do is actually like a social story, kena tunjuk juga gambar mana sakit, and then you have to use pictures and everything, buat role play. It's not easy, but you can try slowly. Tapi jangan aja sakit je lah, macam boleh try benda yang simple dulu like happy, sad, buat situation like role play yang dia boleh faham. Something that they can watch and then something that you can experience juga, so that they can understand. We have to try to explore because macam I cakap tadi, kids with autism, they are unique. Sometimes we have to try many ways to get them to understand. But like I always say to all the parents, it's okay. We do it slowly but surely. Macam tu, insyaAllah.
So the keyword is that we do it slowly. Surely, inshallah. Puan, since that we have reached to the end of the session, and is there anything else that you want to conclude?
Okay, like I said, you have to remember that communication is not all about talking. Komunikasi bukan hanyalah bercakap sahaja, dan kenalilah anak-anak autism kita secara individu, dan bila mana kita berhadapan dengan masalah, kita perlu cari kekurangannya dalam diri kita dulu, kita perbaiki, baru kita cuba nak kita kata point to our autism kids and try to respect them, love them because they are full of love. InsyaAllah. Itu sahaja. Terima kasih.
It's not about them, but it's also about us as a parents and also the caregiver, including all the teachers and so on. Okay, thank you very much, Puan Farah, for your precious and valuable tips and also your time. I'm sure all of us, including today's audience, have gained a lot of information that will be beneficial in our daily life when we need to communicate with our autistic kids. Not only autistic, for me, it's all special need kids. Right. As for the audience, please feel free to fill out the feedback form for the e-certification. Okay, whereby when you submit the form, the e-certificate will be sent to you automatically. And also for the UiTM staff, jam latihan will be given if you fill out the form correctly with the correct staff ID. Okay, and also for the e-certificate, make sure you fill up the correct and valid email address. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our webinar. Our next webinar for this year, this is the fourth webinar for 2021 with the title, The ABCs of the Teaching Social Skills to Adolescents with ASD. And now, normally, most of the time before this, we only target the kids. Now we are focusing on adolescent as well. Okay, it'll be on 17th of April. Okay, with that, okay, I end this session. Hope to see you again in 17th April. Okay, stay safe and have a nice day, everyone. Assalamualaikum and good day. Puan Farah, wait for a while, yeah?